Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us this week. We have a really exciting show planned for you, and I think that you're going to love it. We're going to be doing a combination today of slides and demos. So let me get you the slides in front of you, and then I will let my colleagues introduce themselves because I know you guys want to meet them. Today, we're talking about 3 different ways that you can bring group collaboration to your online classroom. So whether you're teaching hybrid or face-to-face or however you're teaching, we think that there's some strategies in here that you're really going to like. So just like every week with this webinar series, our slides go like this: fried.tech/3 9-21, and it's always going to be the date in exactly that format. We also want to remind you about an amazing resource that Google has where you can compare the editions. So we know there's a lot of questions out there about which edition has which features, and do I have that in my organization? Am I going to be able to do exactly what you're talking about? So this is the website that you want to go to. You want to scroll down and take a look, and you're going to be able to see exactly which editions contain what. And if you know the name of the edition your organization has, then you'll be able to find out if you can do it exactly like we're showing you in the webinar today. All right, let me remind you one more thing, and then I'll get to my colleagues, and that is this. These recordings will be available shortly after we finish the webinar, and at that time, Spanish subtitles will also be added. So for all our Spanish-speaking friends, those will be up very soon. Devin does a great job getting those up super fast. And now, my friends who are with me today. First, Jessica, who you have met before.
Yes, you guys get to see me again. Lucky for you. I'm Jessica Powell Albright. I'm a learning guide here at Fried Technology.
And my colleague, Stephen, who you have not met before because he's fairly new to Fried Technology.
Hello, my name is Stephen Stone, and I am a learning guide for Fried Technology as well. And I'm so excited to be here with you today. I'm trying to contain myself and be seated. I'm very animated when I present, so
I
I'm
can't wait to see
ready,
Stephen jumping around.
Right.
Yeah.
There's going to be some Stephen dancing. I'm all about that. So please, let's just do that. I've seen a film, haven't seen it in real life. I'm here for it, Stephen.
I have that in my back pocket, Amy.
Yes, I know you do, Jess. You pulled it out before. All right, let's go ahead and get started because you guys know how these things go. They're super fast and furious. And I think that Jess is starting today. And I think, Jess, you're going to be talking about some different ways to use breakout rooms and maybe a new feature that might have just come out today.
Yes, I get to talk about breakout rooms, and I love talking about breakout rooms because since this whole pandemic teaching started, and since virtual classrooms became kind of a thing, we've heard for this. We've been hearing from teachers they needed breakout rooms, they needed a way to collaborate with teachers. So Google made that happen for us, and so now students are able to join breakout rooms when they're on a class meet, and that's pretty cool because we really, in the regular traditional face-to-face classroom, we like to have students doing group work because why? We all know that collaboration is really important for students, interactivity, zone of proximal development. There's all kinds of really smart and important teaching theories out there that talk about why groups are really good for kids. But in the virtual setting, we've kind of been lacking that. So breakout rooms allow us to have those small group interactions with a smaller audience. Students aren't as overwhelmed by the large group. They're able to talk a little bit more. They're able to think through and explore ideas a little bit better. And it really does emulate that tried and true classroom setting. So these are some things that we look at when we're thinking about why breakout rooms matter to teachers. Like I mentioned before, noise is kind of an overwhelming thing for learners. So Amy, we've gotten, and Stephen, you guys know, when we do our team meetings through Google Meet, we're adults, we're professionals, we use virtual meetings often, and we still have a hard time effectively communicating with each other in a meet, right?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
So if we're working on projects together and we're trying to have a whole group conversation, it's really hard to make progress. So having the ability to have breakout rooms really affects the students in a positive way, because students are going to need that time to connect, talk through the problem solving process, math specifically. I think through with math, how my students would have definitely benefited in the virtual environment from real conversations with me or other people, because sometimes just writing it or just clicking it on the screen is not enough. Right? So in the virtual setting, that's a really important component. Also, teachers, when you're using breakout rooms, you can join these different breakouts, and we'll show that in just a second, but I just want to point out, this is a great way for you to do observations on students. In Texas, we do something called TELPAS, where we have to observe students as they're acquiring new language skills, and so we have to have anecdotal information about that. This is a great way for you to do that sort of over the shoulder with your students in a virtual setting. So you can put students in certain groups, you know what groups they're in, you'll be able to go and monitor that student as they participate with their students with academic language. Something that's new, you probably didn't know about this, but if you go back to that one slide real quick, Amy.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Something that's new is that when students are in a breakout room, they now have a button they can click that asks for help. And the teacher gets a little notification that students are asking for help. So if you're not in the breakout room with a student at the same time, you see the little notification come through and you can go and help that student.
I didn't know that. When did that come out?
I don't know when that came out. That's actually pretty new. And that might be
Yeah.
something that just launched when we have the teaching and learning update. Another thing is that moderators can now set a timer for their groups. So it will signal for them when it's time. So that was a feature we saw in other platforms during the summertime. And teachers said, we really need that. And Google made that happen. So we're really excited about that. I also learned something very interesting while we were getting ready for this. And you guys, I don't know if you knew this either. You can have up to 100 breakout rooms in a
No.
call.
Wow.
Like I
No,
can't
I
imagine
didn't know
needing
that.
many, but you certainly can, which is
I
crazy.
would not want to set those up in advance.
Oh no, I wouldn't want to set them
No.
up in real time either. That's a lot.
No.
So I think that's really interesting information.
Yeah, definitely.
Those are some new updates. Now, this is something that just launched yesterday, as of yesterday. Now, I don't see it yet, Amy. I bet we don't see it in our domain yet because it does take some time for these new features to update and roll out. And that's really a good thing because if everybody in your domain got that change at the exact same time and it was like something new that didn't know how to work, it would be a lot of work on your support staff to make sure teachers could function. So having that delayed rollout is a really good idea. And it's probably why it's set up that way for your districts. But in the next 15 days or so, you should start seeing this if you have the Education Plus upgrade or the Teaching and Learning upgrade. It's part of the paid features, just like breakout rooms. But what you can do now is you can set up breakout rooms ahead of time using Calendar. And now y'all don't go crazy. Don't go crazy. Calendar. Also, Meet in Calendar has been updated to reflect some security updates. We've been hearing from teachers, don't use Calendar. Kids can join when they're not supposed to, and kids can get into those meets when they're not allowed to. Here's something you need to know. Your districts can set the settings for your domain so that student users are not allowed to start or join meets without their teacher. And also something that's happened recently that's really nice is that hosts can hosts can allow access to the meeting. So you can't join until the host allows you to the meeting.
So Jess, hold on. I got to ask you a question. So if I'm in a school district that does not have Plus or Teaching and Learning upgrades, and I want to find a way to do breakout rooms with my kids, and I'm worried about security problems. Can I now set this up through Calendar and not have the same worries that I did before? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes and no. What we're looking at on the screen right now is specific to having breakout rooms available through Meet. But what you're talking about is setting up separate Google Calendar events and adding students to those calendar events. Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Yes. So if your district doesn't have, you want to demo this, Amy? So
Yes,
if you
I
go
will.
to Calendar and let's say you don't have breakout rooms and you're
Okay.
like, I really want to try this, but we hear there's a lot of concerns about Calendar, and things that you guys are concerned about have really been addressed. So not only can your domain limit that students can't start or create meets, they also now the host can start the meeting and students can't join until it's been started by the host. Also, the host can end the meeting for all users. And once it's ended, nobody can get back in until the host allows them back in. So those three things combined make using calendar events a great workaround for having no breakout rooms available.
I can't demo it because the only account I'm logged into right now is my real account, and you know what my calendar looks like.
Oh, it's a mess. Yeah. But I think that
Brooke
makes
is
sense.
laughing so hard in there.
Doesn't that make sense to you guys though? Like if you have these things turned on, if your domain administrators have set up Meet that way for your district, then calendar events shouldn't be an issue as far as security is concerned. So if you're still concerned about that and you're wanting to use calendar events the way we've talked about before in some of these other webinars we've had, definitely check in with your domain admin to make sure, that's your tech department. But if you have the Teaching and Learning upgrade and you have Education Plus, you do have the ability now to create a calendar event. And we can't demo it, but if you create a calendar event, you can see in this GIF on this slide here that it's pretty simple. You just create your calendar event. You just add the Google Meet to it. And once you've added the Google Meet to your calendar event, a little gear shows up and you can go in and you can click on your breakout rooms. I wanted to kind of start over a second. There it is.
I
So
love
now
how it's showing the drag and drop over there.
yes. So once you had that meet, you could click on the settings, and now you have a list of all the participants in the meet. You can drag them over into the breakout rooms before the meeting even starts.
Wow.
Isn't that cool?
Yes, I love it. I love it.
I think that's
Awesome.
super duper cool. Okay, now this is a hidden gem that I recently learned about. Again, it's going to be only available to people who have the actual Education Plus and Teaching and Learning Upgrade where they have actual breakout rooms, but this is something you have access to now. If you start a Google Meet, and you actually, Amy, could demo this right now if you wanted to, if you have the screen capacity to do it. Just go to meet.google.com and start an instant meet so we can demo this particular feature, which I think is really cool.
Okay.
So just start a new meeting, instant meeting.
Oh, wrong button, Amy.
It's
Hold,
okay.
please. Instant meeting right
There we
this
go.
second.
Now, you don't have anybody in your Google Meet with you right now, but if you had other people in this meet, you might want to, on the fly, create breakout spaces, right? That's something that teachers definitely have in their back pocket. So in order to do that, if you go up to the top right where you see the little icon that has like triangles, squares, and circles, right there, that's where you can turn on your breakout room. Now here, you can click Set Up Breakout Rooms. And now you can rename these breakouts to something else if you want to. And if you had other people in the call with you, like students or participants, you would see where it says main call, you'd see their little icons. You can click and drag them down into the little spaces, which is super helpful. So like Amy could drag her own name, for instance, into one of those existing breakout rooms. But, you know, you're the teacher. Now, here's the thing. Go back to the main call, Amy, because I want you to see this next feature. Like,
Okay.
no. Turn your breakout room back on. Sorry,
Okay.
I wasn't explaining myself correctly. Okay. Set up your breakout rooms.
Okay.
And now hit Open All Rooms. Okay. Now, when you join a room, click and join. Because you put yourself in group 1. That's fine. So you're now in group 1 with all the participants who are now in group 1.
Okay. I've literally never done this before. So this is very exciting to be doing it with like 500 people watching the first time ever.
Yeah, absolutely, right? Okay, so now that you're in a breakout room, you're the teacher and you really need to be able to go back to the main room. So you can click Leave on the group. It takes you back to the main call, which you might have a group working in the main call. Who knows? That might be another group for you.
This is so slick.
Yeah, it's really nice. I know it's taken a little extra time because we're also streaming right now, but it's pretty seamless. Now, here's the thing. See that big red Close Rooms button? This is the hidden gem. When I click that button, Close Rooms, it's going to give my students a little message that says, like, you have 30 seconds. Go ahead and click it.
Okay.
And it says everybody's going to give 30 seconds. So you say close all rooms. And I thought that that's where it stopped. And I had to wait the 30 seconds for all my little middle schoolers to like get themselves in gear and get back into the main call. Go ahead and click it.
Okay.
Now, if you really need them back in right now, click it one more time. Now everybody will automatically be like in the moment.
Cool.
Yeah, you don't have to wait 30 seconds.
Changes the button.
Yeah, you can close it right now. So it's really just remember, if you want to really get your students back into the main room and you're in breakout sessions, click close once. It's going to give them that 30 seconds, but you don't have to wait 30 seconds. Click it again, and it gives you the option to close them right away and send them right back into the main room.
That is a hidden gem. I'm glad you found that.
Yeah, that's super cool to me.
That's powerful. Yeah. And I would like to also add, when we're talking about breakout rooms and scheduling, one thing that we want to let the users know is that they cannot pre-schedule breakout rooms in Google Classroom.
Yeah, that's not available through Classroom yet.
All right. So if you're going to do it, then you do it either inside the Meet or you wait just a few more days for the calendar event option to be there and you do it through there. Okay.
That's correct.
I wonder if it will be coming to Google Classroom. I'm only guessing, but perhaps someday.
I always say yet. I always say yet with Google because the sky's the limit, and they listen pretty well to teacher feedback, which is nice.
Right. If you can think of it, then it could happen. Yeah.
Yes.
And then can students still stay in the rooms after you've closed them?
No.
Can they still stay in the rooms?
Yeah, the next 2 slides kind of talk about that. So that's something that I mentioned before. You can also have some host controls about what students can do in Meet. So right now you have the ability to let your students share their screen and chat, which is really nice. You can turn that on or off. And if you're in breakout rooms, you might want to turn it on so students can collaborate. And then when you're back in the main room, you can turn it off so they can't take over your screen. And then if you go to the next slide, that's available right now, and that's available for anybody using Meet with students. But also we have mobile host controls, which is kind of nice. Breakout rooms still work for students if they're on a mobile device. So I can't set them up from the mobile device as the teacher, the breakout rooms. But if I have students who are in my class and they're accessing our Meet during the day from a mobile device, they can still participate in the breakout rooms, even if they have a mobile device, as long as they've got the Google Meet app. And so, Stephen, kind of what you mentioned was would the students be able to join or stay in the meet without the teacher? And that's
Correct.
something like we mentioned. As long as your district has or your domain admin has set it up so that the students can't start or join a meet without teachers, the same would be true for them staying in the meet. As soon as the teacher hits end for all, the kiddos cannot stay in the Google Meet. So that's the key there. When you end a Google Meet, you have the option. And Amy, if you want to go ahead to your meet at the top, we can do that right now.
Okay.
So if you click end meeting.
So like this, like hang up, leave call. Okay.
Yep. And then see how it gives you the option to just leave the call. That means you're just getting out of there and you're going to leave everybody in there. Maybe you have a co-teacher or another adult in the room, but you also have the option to end the call for everybody. And when you do that, all users get bumped out. It doesn't give them the option to rejoin. And now they have to either request access to that meeting again, where their host would have to let them back in, or they're just done. So it's really, there's no extras there for them.
And then there's one question about the breakout rooms. The way you were demoing it, can I type the students' names into the Google Meet breakout, or do I have to click and drag?
You can type them in. If they're in the meet, you can just click and drag. That's going to be the easiest.
I only know this because I have watched this GIF play so many times. But if you look very carefully, a few seconds in, right? You will actually see that the person types the name and it disappears from the list on the left and goes into the breakout room too.
Yep. So it pulls it over. Exactly.
So I thought that was pretty cool when I noticed that in the GIF. So I'm glad you asked that question.
Yeah.
And then, Jess, you mentioned something about teachers. They can't start a breakout room from their mobile devices, but then can they join breakouts on a mobile device if it's already set up?
Yeah, the setting up part is the part that needs to be done from the web, but you can definitely join the breakout rooms once they've been created on a mobile device. So that's a great way to kind of jump into the rooms too. If you have a couple of different devices, you can hop in.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Good idea. So as a teacher, you really could be every place at once.
You could. You definitely could.
I'm picturing my desk with a bunch of Chromebooks laid out and being in all the breakout rooms at one time.
I'm just picturing
thinking I'm listening.
I'm picturing that cat with the hands just like playing on all the different devices.
Yeah, that's the stuff we needed for that. Exactly.
Yes, yes.
All right, so let's move on. I think we have 2 more sections to go, and Brooke is reminding us in the chat it's 12:18, but we just get so excited about Google Meet. I don't know what to tell you.
Yep.
So the next thing is it's not a hack if you should just be doing it that way. And I feel like, Stephen, this is the name of a YouTube show you're about to start.
Yes, it really is. You should be doing some things that way anyway.
Yes, there we go. All right, well, tell me more.
Okay, well, did you know, and pretty much all of you know this, that Google Meet is now integrated inside of Google Classroom, and that's so awesome. It allows you, the teacher, to set up the meet in such a way, like Jessica already explained, to where students won't be able to join the meet without you being in the meet, starting it. And then also a link can show right up on your classroom dashboard or the top of your classroom, where all the students will have to do is click on the link.
Yeah, there's always a lot of questions, Stephen, about whether or not we should be using Meet or via Calendar or Meet via Classroom. I really don't, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, there's really not a tried and true reason why one is absolutely better than the other. It really depends on your students, right? So using Classroom allows you to keep everybody in the same place. Only the kids in the classroom or the teachers in the classroom can access that Google Meet. And then the Calendar event obviously relies on the use of Google Calendar events. And so if you got littles, specifically littles, I think Calendar wouldn't be the right option. Classroom would definitely be the easiest path, in my opinion. What do you guys think?
It's just easy to turn it on and off in the Google Classroom. It shows right in the, so I can just do generate meet link right here, right inside my Google Classroom settings. I can have it visible to students, or I can turn it off. I mean, it's just easy to do it that way. But other than that, I mean, if you've already got your kids in a group, there's no reason why you can't also use Calendar.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I always say it's based on what you want to do. So you want to think through what you're trying to do.
Yes,
And I
exactly.
think if you wrap your mind around that, think through what you're trying to do to select which way you're trying to go. But we talked about this yesterday. What if you want to meet with students in a small group where we are right now, like virtual learning, and we know virtual learning or remote learning is really not going to go away. As far as I want to just probably say that because this is a new way of learning, right? So if all of your students now have their devices, they have a Chromebook, they have whatever tablet, whatever that they're using, you could then create small groups using your Google Meet link.
Yeah.
We would say make sure, like Amy just showed you, if you want to use this link for small groups, you may want to turn the link off where it's not visible to your students, because you may only want to meet with those 2, 3, 4, or even an individual student one at a time, right? So you want to make sure you only give the link at the time when you want to meet with those particular students. So we're walking you through the GIF and how to go in and hide your link. The next step is to show that when you want to share this with students, I would say, you have to think about what you really want to do. You would choose an assignment. If it's something that after you meet with them, maybe they're going to be turning something in, to show, to prove meeting, or you may have them to update something, or you can just simply choose material. And material would then just give them the link in such a way to where they can go and click on it during that time that you posted it for them, or just schedule for them to come in. So we really want to just throw that out at you, to think about it in a different way, and how you can conduct your small groups during your time.
So, Stephen, is everybody going to get the features that you just talked about?
Yes, right. Because Google Meet, pretty much the link is in the classroom right now. They just have to know how to go turn it off, and then just think through how you want to use this Google Meet link or whatever with your students to meet with them one-on-one conferencing. If you're trying to do small group instruction, flexible group, whatever you're trying to do, just think it through beforehand. But it's an excellent way.
What is it that's going to come later this year? Is it the co-moderators feature that's coming later?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yes,
Well,
it's going to come later this year.
All right. So if you have a co-teacher, then maybe you have to be out one day or something like that. Then does that mean my co-teacher is going to be able to have all the Meet controls and everything through Classroom?
And I would say that's a much needed feature. Especially when teachers are absent or out, you never can tell, because that can just happen overnight, right? So that's a great way. I'm glad Google thought about that in advance. Hopefully they can put like a rush on it, like it happened tomorrow.
Okay, yeah. I hope. Google, are you listening to Stephen right now? He said we need a rush on that.
Because that's a big need. That
like
is
get
a big
on it,
need.
stat.
Yes.
Like, right. We're just going to pretend like we're in control of Google right now.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. We're going to skip ahead a few slides because we got a couple of more important announcements to give to you, but don't miss those slides I just skipped over because you want to see those features. But we only have 7 minutes left and we want to make sure that we get your questions. So this is a way that we use Google Classroom that we thought you guys might want to know about. So we love using slides in our learning, and I just want to go over really, really quickly how to assign teamwork through Google Classroom. So for example, let's say you have a slide like this that you want to assign to your students, and you want them to write a little Twitter bio and, a little fun get to know you activity or something like that. But this could be any teamwork that you think is fun that you want to use with your students or that students are going to use to learn. So let's say I want to assign this in Google Classroom, but I've only got 9 spots here. So see how there's 9 different places kids could type. So I only want 9 kids in the group to work on this, but then I've got more than 9 kids in my classroom. So the problem we're trying to solve is we want kids to work together in groups. We don't want everybody to be in there at once, but we need multiple copies of this thing. So when we started talking through this, we said, well, you could just make, like if you're going to have 5 groups, you could just make 5 copies of this. But then we thought, but wait a minute, can Classroom really do that for you? Like, do I really have to do all that work? And we decided, yes, actually, Classroom can do this for us. So when you're looking at using the jigsaw method, just so you know, it's one of the most effective teaching methods methods that's known to mankind, jigsaw method. Look that up if it's not something you're familiar with, and you'll go, oh yeah, I do that all the time. I know about that, maybe just not the term. So let's look at how you would do this. The first thing you would do is create your slides, or you can get a copy of our example if you want to. It's already got everything all laid out there. You can just type over what we put there and make it what you want. Then you would go into Google Classroom and you would create the assignment for the first group. Here's the kicker. This is a mistake I made the first time I tried this. The kicker is you don't want to hit assign now if your kids are there and logged in, because the second they start modifying that, your file is going to be modified. And then when you go to assign it to the next group and the next group, it's going to have all those changes in it. Are y'all with me, Stephen and Jess?
Yeah, that makes total sense.
All right. So what I want to do then is I want to save it as a draft, or I want to schedule it for even if it's 10 minutes in the future. So I'm just giving myself a little buffer to get all of them assigned before I push it out there. Then I'm going to select the first group of 9 students who I want to use the assignment. And then instead of copying it manually, I'm going to go to reuse the assignment, and I'm going to check this special box, create new copies of all attachments. Now, since I haven't pushed this out to any kids yet, they can't have modified it yet. So when I create this through reuse, it's going to be making a copy of the blank assignment. So that's the little, like, it's not a hack if you should already be doing it that way moment here, right?
Yes.
All right, we have a couple more minutes. So you guys tell me what questions we see in the chat, or if we should demo how to actually do this real quick.
I think we should demo this. And while you're pulling that up, Amy, I'll answer a couple of questions I just saw come through. So the co-moderator feature is coming to Google Meet, not just to Classroom, but Google Meet. So any of you who are not using Google Classroom, co-moderator features they're on the launch schedule. So you should be seeing that eventually.
All right.
And if you need to know where to find our slides, don't forget they're in the top right corner of our slide deck. And when we go back to end the event, you guys can get the link real quick for our slides from that slide. So Amy's just making a classroom assignment real quick for us to demonstrate this collaborative effort.
All right, this is how we do it. So we've got our collaborative assignment. It's called Team Assignment. I'm going to pick it from my Google Drive, and then I'm going to allow everyone to edit, because what I want is for this to be a group thing where people are able to see each other editing. So I'm going to find my team assignment. Kind of thought it would be at the top, but apparently I did a lot of things today. Let's pretend that this is it since it's not popping up. So I'm going to insert it. And then I'm going to change it. And it's going to be, instead of students can view file, it's going to be students can edit file. All right, that's the first important thing. The rest of it probably already makes sense to y'all. Now let's pretend. So here's my real one I made before y'all got here today, and I am fumble fingers because you're all watching me now. So here it is. This is the assignment. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reuse it. So I'm going to go up to Create, Reuse Post. I'm going to choose the class that I'm in right now, in my case. And here it is. And this is that special area that I was talking about. Down here at the bottom, create new copies of all attachments and reuse. When I do that, if I have left the other one as a draft, or I have scheduled it for later, I'm safe, because no one has edited this yet, even though later on 9 people are going to be able to edit it. After I reuse it, then I've taken my first group of 9, I'm going to assign it to my second group of 9, and I'm going to keep repeating that process until every single student in my classroom has got a team assignment and a group that they have been assigned to. All right, is that making sense to everybody?
I like that strategy. I think that's a really unique way of looking at it for sure.
Well, I've taught it many times to adults now, and they really liked it too. And I know a lot of people are using it. So I hope it helps a lot of people who are in this webinar today, especially because we only have 2 minutes left. So let me remind you, sign up for next time. We will be back next week broadcasting, and I can't remember what the topic is. Jess, what's the topic next week?
I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't either. Sorry. Look at the registration page, because we thought about this a long time ago, what we wanted the topic to be. And so you guys will see that on the registration page.
A+
Don't forget,
Classroom.
Oh,
Hey,
thanks. Google Classroom.
thanks.
All about Google Classroom next
And
week.
Jacqueline will be joining us for that one.
Yeah, exciting. We're excited to have Jacqueline on. In the top right-hand corner, don't forget, here are your slides, fried.tech/3-9-21. I hope you guys are interested in getting our template that we shared in there for you and that it saves you a few minutes. And Devin wants to know, can we chat about free or paid features real quick? Yes, let's go back and look at that chart really quickly. Remember, this is on the first slide of our presentation. There's a URL there that you'll be able to go to, and this is what you want to take a look at. All of this stuff we're talking about, fundamentals, that's free. Everybody gets that no matter what, whether your district pays or not. And then the other two updates that we ever talk about are teaching and learning or Education Plus. So either of those will get you the advanced features like the ones that Jess showed today that are going to give you those real fancy breakout rooms that are going to kind of work automatically and seamlessly. You can still do those things through fundamentals, but it's just going to be a little bit more work and a little bit different process for you if you don't have the upgraded account. All right. Anything else we should say before we go today, you guys?
I think that's probably it. You guys just make sure if you wanted our slides and our templates, you get our slide link from the top right corner there.
Yep, I think that's it. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful afternoon, and thank you for joining us again.
Bye, guys.
Bye.